Thanks for checking out this video. Don't forget, like and subscribe. So finally, there's a heel advantage for one segment. But then, Mark Briscoe just comes out anyway.
Yeah.
And it was really weird because Yuta somehow got the key to the cage, and he put it in his pocket. And I was like, okay, well, I guess he's going to open the cage with that. But then Mark Briscoe came out, and he just used wire cutters or bolt cutters, and he just cut his way into the cage.
Yeah.
And so in he went and makes a comeback like he hadn't been beaten up, just runs wild. And at that point, the match beyond began. Everybody's bleeding. Kyle's bleeding everywhere. And we had Briscoe and Wheeler ending up outside. And they fought on top of the cage. And there's one table below the cage. And I was like, you guys better not even think about it. And they teased it, and thankfully nobody came off the top of the cage. It all built to a spot where Mark gave Wheeler the J Driller on the cage. And then he just kind of climbed down and then started brawling on the ground. And then Gabe Kidd showed up with the cattle prod, and he zapped Darby, dragged him toward the backstage area. In the ring, Orange put his hands in his pockets, and Moxley stapled his hands into his pockets. Pac then tried to hang Darby with a belt by the entrance ramp. Gabe set up two tables, poured lighter fluid on him, lit him on fire. Pac press slammed Darby off the entranceway through the flaming tables. And man, this Darby was on fire too long. I mean, he was still burning as he was rolling. And they put him out, and he's gone. So back in the ring, Moxley tries to choke out Kyle with a chain-assisted bulldog, but he won't go out. So Claudio puts a chair around his neck. They're going to break his neck. But Orange and Roddy return. They make this big comeback. Everybody's run wild. Orange ends up hitting a punch on Claudio out of midair. Roddy spears him through a table. Orange hits a punch on Moxley. Kyle puts him in the ankle lock. And Moxley's fighting, and he's fighting. But he counters into a bulldog choke. But then Kyle counters that in an armbar. Counters back into an ankle lock. Moxley is all alone in the ring, in a pile of glass. Everybody else on his team is dead. And he has no choice but to furiously tap out.
It was a great finish.
It was awesome. This was a perfect finish to this match.
Yeah.
Built off all those weeks of the Kyle-Moxley feud where, you know, Kyle almost had him, but Moxley snuck out. Kyle almost had him, but Moxley found a way out. This time there was no way out.
He put Kyle over in this feud.
He sure fucking did.
Yeah.
And, it was a perfect finish. It was as advertised, blood and guts. You know, Moxley used forks and stabbed everybody, and, you know, there were bumps on the cage and fire and glass and everything you can think of. You know, the first, you know, the entrance portion I was not a big fan of, but once it became, you know, the actual lock the door blood and guts, it became really good, and then the finish was freaking great. So, overall, I mean, they delivered.
They went 54 minutes.
They sure did.
Whoa.
I will say one thing, that Bryan Danielson's on commentary. That guy was not comfortable. I mean, you could just hear him. Like, the longer the match goes and the crazier it gets, he just gets more and more quiet. And when they finally did the Darby press slam off the entrance ramp through the flaming table, you just hear Bryan Danielson just quietly say, "What are we doing?" I was like,
that's what I was thinking.
I don't know, man. I don't know what you're doing. But you know what? God.
I was thinking the same. It's you know, it's like, I'm sure he's thinking the same thing I am. It's like, this is a spectacle and everything like this, but you're playing with literally.
The guy's retired doing commentary. And he's watching these dudes do crazier shit than he ever did in his career. And literally when it's over, like, the announcers are kind of wrapping everything up, and there's like all the announcers, and you just see Danielson, he's like low in his chair, and he's just like, oh my God.
They're playing with fire. They're not.
Literally. They actually were playing with fire.
Yes, and glass. And they're playing with glass. You know? It's like they have to, you know. I mean, it's so hard because when you go in this direction, the only way to get further, it's like a freaking heroin addict. You know, you go so far, the only way to do it is to do more and more and more. You know, Tanahashi was the one who used to talk about that years and years and years ago, about the change in wrestling styles and everything. And his thing was, it wasn't so much about this because New Japan never did stuff like this. But his thing was the thing that got really, really popular with Shibata and some of those guys is just beat the frickin' shit out of the guy and hit really, really hard. And he just goes, the only way to once you're hitting that hard, the only way to get the crowd is to hit harder. And at some point, it's like you're hitting too hard, you're going to hurt somebody. It's like, he's always been a fan of wrestling. You know what I mean? Wrestling that you can, and look at him. You know what I mean? And he destroyed his knees, even with that.
Even
attitude.
just wrestling.
Yeah, just like Randy Orton, who certainly would be against all this stuff, and he destroyed his back just wrestling. So imagine, throwing everything else into the thing. And look, Danielson. Although Danielson did a lot, Danielson took a lot of risks through his career, but he destroyed his body too, And seeing these guys that are like, Darby and, Wheeler. I mean, these guys are just doing crazy stuff. I mean, Darby's uncontrollable. He's further than Mick Foley or maybe anyone I've ever seen. As far as just, the willingness to take. Not willingness. Willingness is one thing. The need. He's got this need to take punishment. It's something really weird. I mean, it's made him a superstar. But my God, it's like, he did make it to 30, but it's like, I'm very scared for him later in life. I cannot imagine like the condition that he's going to be in when he's older. I used to think that about Mick. And look, Mick's 60, he can still walk around. I remember
after double knee and hip surgery.
Darby's going to have all that too.
Have you grabbed your F4WOnline.com shirt yet? Well, we got a bunch of them. They're up in the store right now. F4WOnline.com/shirts. You can grab your -5 stars shirt, your Dave Meltzer Wrestling Observer shirts, even the brand new After Dark Radio shirt. You love Granny? We have Granny's Gang shirts. Have you ever won a shoot battle royal? Probably not, but you can tell people you did. So check out the store. All of these great shirts and more. It's through Pro Wrestling Tees. F4WOnline.com/shirts. That's F4WOnline.com/shirts.